What's up, you guys? Vice Admiral Strawberry here to do my One Piece chapter 802 review. So I'm gonna try to get this out nice and early and try to make it a lot more concise than the past reviews. Took notes this time, so I'm not gonna have to be looking up like this trying to think of what happened. So let's get straight into it. So I remember the cover page was like Luffy sort of dressed in this sort of sage outfit. Like, I don't know if you remember back when Naruto like drew like red marks around his face and he was making that one pose like this. So he's just like that, and he has like a samurai sword, and he's like wearing kimono, and it's very like Japanese culture. So maybe that's sort of alluding to the Zou being based heavily on Japanese culture, or maybe it's Wano Kuni, because I think it's widely believed that Wano Kuni is going to be based heavily on Japanese culture, and Kano Kuni is going to be based heavily on Chinese culture. So, and then there's another color page, and it's like Japanese culture. There's cherry blossom trees. There's everybody's wearing a kimono. There's Luffy, Chopper, Zoro, Sanji, and Nami, and Usopp, and they're eating lunch with like some hippos. So sort of bizarre. I mean, somebody may just like be like draw a bunch of circles, like, oh, this means this in the future, but decent cover page, or decent color page rather. So we jump into the chapter, and we're with Luffy's group with the Barto Club, and it's hailing giant pieces of hail the size of human heads. And so Luffy calls for the navigator, and apparently they have no navigator on the crew. So what they do is they call a person named Grams. I'm not sure if that's a person's name or it's like supposed to be slang or short for grandma. By the way, I'm reading the manga pen translation, so everything might not be translated very well or very clearly. So yeah, and it's funny because they're asking for advice, but the person's telling them advice like, "Oh, you could use the hail to clean the gum off the ship's deck," which it's like it's a funny gag. It's like they're asking for advice, but the advice that they're getting has nothing to do with what's important in the situation right now. So it's sort of like that one episode of Family Guy where Stewie's at the Star Trek convention and he's trying to ask questions about like whatever secret information that was never revealed, and the guy's like asking, I have dry skin. Do you have any suggestions? It's like that has nothing to do with Star Trek. So yeah, it's like that. I found that pretty funny. So anyway, oh, there's this other panel where Luffy said, "Oh, the ship's gonna sink," and his eyes are bulging out. And it reminded me of that scene on Skypiea where Chopper was being attacked by one of the priests, and he blew the whistle, and his eyes like popped out. It was really funny. It was a really funny face, and his mouth's open, like sort of like an NL face. But yeah. So then it's sort of some panels go by that sort of represent time going by, like they're going on the sea and they're dealing with a sea monster, and then there's more storms. So and then we cut to Navy HQ, and we see Kizaru. I think this is the first time we've seen Kizaru post time skip. I'm trying to remember if we saw him in one of the meetings. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. So they're talking about the 7th Shichibukai, Edward Weeble. So I mean, we're getting the 7th Shichibukai we haven't known till now, and apparently he's taken out 16 captains affiliated with Whitebeard, and they're currently 600 dead at the moment. So I don't know if that's from just this incident or total over the course of him killing 16 captains, taking out 16 captains. So I'm gonna assume those 16 captains are dead. So I guess those people in Marineford aren't gonna come to help Luffy in the final war because they're all getting massacred. So, and Kizaru even says he's a pirate with powers that should be feared. So that's an admiral saying, praising a pirate. So I mean, he must be strong. So they said he has the strength, like a young Whitebeard. And then we sort of cut to the scene where where Edward Weeble is, and from the back you can see he's like a big, massive guy, and he has tiny legs, and you could see his mustache like Whitebeard from the back. That's one of the first things I noticed. Like he has like a beard or a mustache like this, and the thing about the beard and the mustache is in Japanese they don't have a word for mustache. They have like the word hige means facial, sort of means facial hair. Like there's no differentiation between beard and mustache. So it's, and if you said it in Japanese, then it'd be right. It's just facial hair. So that was good to know. So we see a panel of his back again, and in the bottom left corner there is, I recognize this pirate. His name's Ao. I had to look him up, and I recognize him from the Whitebeard War. So I guess he's dead, So and then we sort of get, the character introduction with the character card, and he has, like, King of Lightning's gonna hate this guy because this guy has the stick, the most like stick-like legs out of all characters that we've ever seen. Like the guy is like a massive meatball, and he has like these tiny itty bitty stick legs. He's like that egg guy from Big Mom's Crew, except he's his torso's like 3 times as big. So, and he also has stitches. He has like a stitch on one of his forearms, and he has a stitch around his neck. He has a fat neck. I can't even tell where his neck starts. And then he has like stitches down his face. And we see we assume it's his Jolly Roger on his clothes. So it's the mustache and then the stitches. And his pirate name supposedly is Whitebeard Jr. and he's self-proclaimed son of Whitebeard. So that's sort of interesting. So, I mean, once we get into these characters, I would, maybe he's not really Whitebeard's son, because Kizaru says, oh, whether that's true or not, it's none of our business. So, I think it would really take away from the character of Whitebeard if, like, he has this goofy family. But, anyway, his bounties, his bounty's frozen. What do you call it? Not recent bounty. What's the word? Previous bounty? Anyway, his bounty was 480 mil when it was active. So, he also uses the same like pole arm called the Bicentro or Bicento, and it's like a pole arm, has like a pole with a big blade on it. It's almost exactly the same as Whitebeard. So, and then he's like. So basically, he's saying that how Whitebeard called everybody his sons, he's sort of fed up with it because he's Whitebeard's actual son. So maybe that's why he's killing all the people that Whitebeard called son, because he says he's his actual son, and he's just upset at them. So he says, if you don't believe me, ask my mom or something. And then his mom, whose name is Miss Buckling, she's this little scrawny, ugly old lady. So, and it's funny. She holds up this Whitebeard's wanted poster, and he's like, "Oh, is that a mirror?" So I guess that's gonna be his gag. Is gonna be he's gonna say, "Oh, is that a mirror?" every time he sees Whitebeard's face. So she says something interesting. She says Whitebeard must have left something of great value, and she says she doesn't want the pirates of Whitebeard to get it. It belongs to them, so to speak. So maybe there is something. I mean, obviously, Whitebeard never found the One Piece, but I mean, he was. The name of this era is Whitebeard, as Ace would say. So I'm sure Whitebeard definitely has something, some big sort of treasure himself that he could have left for the world. So, but we'll see about that. So Whitebeard Jr. Says he wants to kill Blackbeard for killing Whitebeard. So, I'm not sure how that's gonna go down. I mean, the guy's taking out. You know, he hasn't taken out anybody crazy yet, not that we know of. But to be honest, the character design is too goofy. Like, obviously, Kaido. If Kaido is goofy, then we really couldn't like be taking. I don't want to say we couldn't be taking One Piece seriously, but like for the top tier guys, their character designs aren't going to be goofy. So I don't think this guy's going to be like super top tier, just because his character design is so like goofy. But yeah, I think he's going to try to take out Whitebeard, and Whitebeard's going to straight up kill him. So it's sort of like Otis just introducing this character for Blackbeard to take him out, just to show the audience how strong Blackbeard is as of that moment. So yeah. So and then they're sort of speaking, and they're saying they get a newspaper and it says how Luffy beat Doflamingo. So they're like, oh, Luffy, that's the one Marco was protecting during the Whitebeard War. Maybe we'll go confront Luffy. We'll be able to find Marco. So I guess they're after Luffy now. So I hope that's not the main villain of the next arc, because he seems pretty lame. I mean, he probably has some. I don't think that guy's all physical. There's no way that guy's all physical. That guy must have some ability. So yeah. Probably has some crazy devil fruit that's like almost like the Goro to me. But yeah, then it says we go a week later to the Going Luffy Senpai, and they're just about making it to Zou. So, and they're in this thick fog, and then everybody on Bartolomeo's pirate crew is seasick from the fog, I guess. So I guess it's like the whole pirate crew's gag to just be bad at sailing on the sea. So they're no good at navigating, and they get seasick all the time. So maybe. So so one of the guys on Bartolomeo's crew is looking out some binoculars, and they say, I think I see a mountain or something, and it's moving. So obviously Luffy's excited, and then Usopp's like grabbing his face like no, and Usopp has like those sharp teeth, and he's all mad. He's like no, we're gonna sink. So yeah, and it's funny because Law calls Usopp God. He says, "Hey God," which and then Usopp's like, "Oh God, you say 200 million." Very bounty. So he's like pulling a chopper right now, like, like, don't say things that flatter me. And he's like, yeah, Diamante's gag was sort of like the same. It was like, I know I'm a genius. So he's like, oh, don't call me God with a 200 million bounty. So, and Frankie's behind him, still salty. So, because he didn't get his bounty didn't even break 100 million. So, and then this is the part where I'm sort of confused because Law says we've already checked out every admiral. So I'm not sure if that's a mistranslation or what. I don't know if that's like what they were discussing before this moment. And then Law has a Vivicard, so I'm not sure if it's like an Admiral's Vivicard or if it's one of his crew members' Vivicards. So anyway, they're approaching the island Zoe and they see it, and it's literally an elephant walking, and you could see like buildings and structures on top of it. So the island, I don't even know if you can say the elephant is an island or the island's on top of the elephant, because an island's like, the fact that it's an island has to do with it coming out of a body of water. So I don't know, and I don't know what's up with the elephant. Like, is it walking on the bottom of the seafloor? Like it must have really long legs or something, or maybe it's walking on the surface, which is stupid. Which would be stupid, but it's One Piece, so yeah. So yeah, he says this is why you can't use the log pose, because it's not an island, it's an elephant walking around. So I'm not sure if he said you need a Vivicard to get there, so I'm not sure if that's like Beppo's Vivicard or if that is the elephant's Vivicard. So yeah, and then Law says on the island lives the Mink tribe. So I had just recently watched a video from Rogers Base, and he was talking about the Minkmen. So apparently, in the human auction house, there was like a list of all the races that were being sold there, and Minkmen was on the list. So I looked up what a mink was, and it's sort of like this like weasel looking rodent. So I think it wouldn't be far fetched at all. I think it'd be pretty safe to assume that girl that Sanji's group was looking for, and we sort of saw her face. I think it's pretty safe to assume she was one of the mink men, because she had like a little rodent nose. So yeah, he says they avoid people in general, and they have 1,000 years of history. So maybe they kept records of history through the Void Century, possibly. So maybe they'll have some information on the Void Century, so we'll get some progress there. Maybe there's a poneglyph on the island. So yeah, that's everything I have to say about that. Chapter rating, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. So yeah, 7 out of 10 this week. Pretty, I mean, I was expecting the 7th Shichibukai to be like super hype, and this is not that hype, because I mean, if it was, when you say, oh, the son of Whitebeard, that sounds crazy, right? But this character is ridiculous. Maybe he's not the real son of Whitebeard, and Whitebeard has a real son, and his real son is like devastating. But we won't know until a later time. So next chapter. So there's. So I assume, since Whitebeard said he's gonna look for the Straw Hats, I assume he's gonna be in one of the main plots going on in the next arc. Possibly. He could show up on this island. He could show up on the next island. But I think next chapter I think Luffy and the others are gonna, venture on to Zoe. and maybe we'll meet Beppo, and maybe we'll just cut to Sanji and see where they've been, and maybe they'll meet Beppo, and then. So yeah, I don't think the plot's really gonna go anywhere else other than Onzo. I could be wrong. I want to. I hope we're wrong because I think the only thing left for Oda to jump to that we haven't seen is Dragon Blackbeard Shanks. Yeah, I think that's the only thing Oda can jump to, and those things I would love to see, and I think everybody else would love to see those. So, tell me what you guys thought of the chapter. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and thanks. Have a nice morning, day, or night. Bye bye.